Just give me a minute to go live here. Oops. Give me another minute to go live. I went live on the wrong page, I think. Not on my timeline. On the page. All right. And while I'm setting this up, I'm going to be talking about this poem I heard this week that I really like. It's called Encouraging Words. So just 2 more seconds for this Facebook thing. Come on. Here we go. Here we go. Let me spotlight the video so I'm the only one. I know how to do that now. Awesome. And let's do it. Go live. Go live anyway. All right. Hopefully it works. Okay. So again, welcome to our little group sitting together. More like a little community that we're trying to build. People who want to just live an awakened life, who want to be of service, who want to not add suffering into the world, and who want to ease suffering into the world. And it's like a little refuge that we can go to each week to connect with each other, to support each other, to inspire each other. And I'd like to start out today with this poem called Encouraging Words by a Zen master. His name's Guishan. Now, there's a little Buddhist stuff in it, and we're going to unpack that. But I want to get to the life stuff. Like, there again, this isn't a Buddhist group. Obviously, that's what I practice, and that's where meditation and mindfulness really comes from, basically. But there's a lot to say about life and our practice, you know. So I'm going to read it once through, and then I'm going to take it line by line. And obviously, if you guys want to take any notes, like things that pop up into your head that you want to bring up after the meditation, feel free to write anything that comes to you down, because, you know, I want to talk about it after with you guys. So, Encouraging Words. And I should warn you, it's pretty intense. It's a pretty intense poem, very sobering, hard to listen to at some parts. But here we go. Someday you will die. Lying on your sickbed, about to breathe your last, you will be assailed by every kind of pain. Your mind will be filled with fears and anxieties, and you will not know where to go or what to do. Only then you will realize that you have not practiced well. The skandhas, or aggregates, matter, sensations, conceptions, impulse, and consciousness, and the 4 elements in you will quickly disintegrate, and your consciousness will be pulled wherever your ancient twisted karma leads it. Impermanence does not hesitate. Death will not wait. You will not be able to extend your life by even a second. How many thousands more times will you have to pass through the gates of birth and death? If these words are challenging, even insulting, let them be an encouragement for you to change. Practice heroically. Do not accumulate unnecessary possessions. Don't give up. Still your mind. End wrong perceptions. Concentrate and do not run after the objects of your senses. Practice diligently. Be determined not to let your days and months pass by wastefully. Whew, some heavy shit. So let me take this line by line, because there's a lot. I mean, I don't even know if I'm going to have enough time to. I'm going to try to get to everything. So right away, I mean, he starts right away with the heavy stuff. Someday you will die, right? And we all understand this. We all know this, like, intellectually, but to really feel that, to really know that, yes, this is going to happen to me, and I don't know when it's going to happen. And you might think, well, that's pretty morbid and pessimistic. But the truth is, it's just the truth of reality. It's nothing personal. It's nothing bad or good. It's just the way it is. And I found that if you don't contemplate it, then you might not necessarily live as deeply, right? And you hear so many people like, oh, I'll do my passion later in life. Well, there might not be later in life. Like, what are you doing? What are you waiting for? Oh, I'll start my practice later. And this, I think a lot of this poem addresses that specifically, like, oh, well, you can practice some other time. Well, death is coming, and it might come today. It might come tomorrow. It might come 40, 50 years from now. We don't know, but we don't want to waste this time. So this is a really important thing. Like, this is a precious opportunity for you to be alive, right? And if you really look at, like, just expand a little bit, like, we're on this floating rock that's floating around some big fireball in the middle of infinite empty space with all these other big, massive objects and fiery things and explosions. But here we are on Zoom on a Sunday morning, what the hell's going on? What is this? We have this precious opportunity to just experience in general. And that opportunity will end. So what are you doing? How are you living? Like, what are you offering this world? And how deeply are you investigating and experiencing and living? So there's a lot more to say on that, but I want to keep going. It starts talking about lying on your sick bed, your deathbed. And I think that this section is kind of him saying, like, look, like, don't wait until really bad things happen to start practice. And this is where a lot of people get into some trouble with meditation and mindfulness. They think it's just about feeling good and de-stressing. So they're like, yeah, I can do that another time. But they don't realize that meditation and mindfulness is about facing reality as it is. And sometimes reality as it is horrendous. I mean, just look around now at the world. It's painful, it's tough. And then, if you get sick, when you age, dying, seeing other people die. I mean, this is hard stuff. And if you haven't trained your mind to, one, be open to reality in the first place, to be aware of what reality is and how, the laws that govern reality, but then practices working with your fears and your anxieties and your reactivity to what is presented, then you're just going to be swallowed up. And that's exactly what he says. Your mind will be filled with fears and anxieties. You're not going to know what to do. You're just going to be swept away. Whereas if you start practicing now and you deal with little things, and then maybe something a little bigger happens, and you've already done some work with letting go of thoughts, with allowing emotions to be present. So, you have some practice. You'll know what to do, right? And that's not to say it won't be so scary and terrifying that you'll forget completely, but at least you'll have that possibility. At least you've had some work. And then he says, only then you'll realize you haven't practiced well. Thanks. And this is the Buddhist part. I'll quickly go through this. He says something about the skandhas, or the aggregates. And basically in Buddhism, those are the 5 things that make up who we think we are, right? So there's form, right? There's the hard stuff. There's, it says sensations here, but it's better to be feeling tone is the better translation that I've read. Basically, everything you experience, whether it's a sound, a thought, a feeling, a sensation in your body, a taste, a smell, it has a feeling tone to it. It's either, it's basically like for or against or neutral, so it's got pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. Those were the words I was looking for. And then perceptions, obviously, like if I look at a banana, I know it's a banana, right? Because I have this ability to remember, to perceive things, and to have perceptions about things. It's not just colors and shapes. It's colors and shapes, and then my mind makes sense of it with perceptions. And then they say impulses in this one. I've heard volition, but I like mental formations. So basically our reactivity. If your parents beat you with bananas when you were a kid, then when you see a banana, there'll be an unpleasant feeling tone, and then there'll be our habitual response to it, which is fear or whatever. If you love bananas and it's your favorite food, you see one and you get filled with joy, and you just go and you eat it. So that's what he's talking about there. And then consciousness, obviously, you all know what that is. It's what makes sense of everything and allows it. So basically, they say that these 5 things make up who we think we are, and there's nothing really outside of it if you look. And then it goes into karma, that you're going to be pulled, your consciousness will end up somewhere else. It's talking about rebirth. You don't need to worry about this stuff. But this is my favorite line in the poem coming up next. Impermanence does not hesitate. Impermanence does not hesitate. And in 2 days, I'm coming up on the year anniversary, actually tomorrow, the year anniversary of my friend who passed. Impermanence does not hesitate, right? That's it. He's gone, right? It's not, and even with like coronavirus, life just changed. It didn't hesitate. It just changed, right? One day you're healthy, and then impermanence, boom, sick, right? And just changes like that. Impermanence doesn't wait for you. It doesn't hesitate. It doesn't care if you like it or not. Impermanence does not hesitate. And I think like that line gives me chills. Like my neck is tingling right now because it's such a powerful line that life is always changing and it will change, guaranteed. And we don't know when or how. We don't know if it's going to be a good change or a bad change, but it's going to change and it's not going to hesitate. And then it says death will not wait. And you can think of, you don't have to think of our physical death, but like the death of, the life before COVID, right? Any change in life is a death, right? If you lost a relationship or lost a friend, I mean, there's a death there. If you changed, you got a new job, there's a death there, so that doesn't wait either, right? It's just, there's change, and then you gotta face the new reality, right? And this is where meditation comes in. You show up and you sit down no matter what, and you open up to reality. Sometimes it's really not pretty. It doesn't feel good all the time, and that's fine, and it's normal, and that's just this life. If you don't want to deal with things like that, well, you should have been reincarnated in a different in some alien world where everything's great and permanent. That's not here. So we got to grow up. And we have to train ourselves to open up. And I think we might have talked about this last week. We always try to make life fit in our bubble of what we think it should be, instead of expanding or even just popping our bubble and letting life in as it is, which makes more sense. Let me keep going through here. More karma stuff, rebirth. We don't need that. But then if these words are challenging, insulting, let them be encouragement, right? And yes, it is scary to think about, oh my God, I'm going to die, and how uncomfortable, and to let go of things, and life could change, and things could be very different. Someone once said, you're a phone call away from wishing for the life you have now. When like you could get a phone call, this person just passed away, and then you want to wish for the life that you had now, even though we complain about it all the time. It's like this, and I hate it, but then life changes and you're like, crap, I kind of like that, even though I didn't. But use it as encouragement. And I've being in quarantine, I mean, I'm working, but you still get a little kooky with all this stuff going on and the stress in the world. And I haven't been perfect, and I used to really beat myself up about it. But now I just let it be encouragement. Like, yes, I fucked up again. Like, okay. But how can I not do that again? And I go to a place of like brokenheartedness rather than anger and hatred. And even when I see the violence on TV or the things going on in the world, I don't get angry anymore. My heart breaks. I saw someone was sitting on the ground, and someone comes up and kicks him in the face, bashes the back of his head. I would probably used to get angry, or I would usually get angry at that, get angry at the person who kicked the person, call them an idiot. But now I feel bad for both. Not bad. My heart opens. Like, this poor person getting kicked in the head, that, who knows what kind of trauma that person's going to have. And then this other person that is so filled with hate and anger and ignorance that they could kick someone in the head and not even think that's wrong. Like, that is so heartbreaking, because I don't do that. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm not going to kick somebody in the head because I wouldn't want to get kicked in the head. So how do you get to a place that you can do something like that, and really start to open up to that too, and like send, you know, for me, my practice in those moments when I really can't control it and it's painful is to just send out that loving kindness. May this person be well, right? And then may that person be free from ignorance. May they grow in wisdom so that they don't cause harm anymore. And that's really our journey, is how do we grow in wisdom so that we don't cause harm anymore? Because we all will, even with that intention. But how do we keep reducing the amount of harm that we cause? And how do we ease the suffering that we see around us? The next part, practice heroically. I love this line too. It's my second favorite line. This practice is heroic, right? If loving everybody, even the perpetrators, right, or the bad people, quote unquote, was easy, we wouldn't have these problems. Everyone would be able to do it. If tolerance was easy, we wouldn't have these problems, right? If forgiveness was easy, we wouldn't have these problems. So we really need to work on it in ourselves. And really the whole world has to, because what you see out in the world is an expression of a mind that's uneasy, or, you know, not at peace. You know, as you're seeing the mind being expressed in actions and words, that's what you're seeing. And we don't do any work on the mind. We'll do all this crazy shit for our bodies, right? We'll starve ourselves and eat kale and all this weird stuff. We'll jump up and down. We'll run on a treadmill for hours that doesn't get us anywhere. Lift all heavy weights, but we don't do anything for our mind. And that's like where true happiness comes. That's where, you know, transformation comes. And I'm not negating exercise and health, of course, you know, but the point is working with the mind, and it is a heroic journey. They call it a spiritual warrior for a reason. We're going against the grain of our evolution. You know, we're going against all of our, you know, initial kind of impulses and reactivity. And it's not easy. I'll tell you that. I've been doing it for like 13 years. It's still not easy at all. But it's, for me, the only way to live, and to at least attempt. You know, even if at the end of a day, I fucked up all day, yelling at people, lost in my reactivity, bad habits, eating the wrong things. At the end of the day, I can look back and say, at least I'm aware that that's unwholesome, right? And so just that knowledge, just that wisdom that this is unwholesome is already starting to transform it, because I have that, you know, and I can celebrate that I'm aware enough to know that this is harmful and that I don't have to do this anymore, and that I can keep practicing and recommitting to that. Then he keeps going on, do not accumulate unnecessary possessions. Just straightforward. You don't need all these things to be happy. And honestly, the more things you get, the more things you got to worry about. So I'm not saying be homeless, but, and this isn't like throw away everything, but it's your attachment to these things. You can have a brand new car. It's fine. Just, you don't have to be so attached to it. It's a piece of metal. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's really the mind that receives these possessions. It's not about, I got to throw everything out and burn my house down and walk on the streets. It's just, I don't need to hold on to everything so tightly. And if you go back to impermanence and death, well, why would you? What's the point of holding on anyway? Because it's all going to go. All right. So just really embrace it. And like, you know, you can hold it like this, or you can hold it like this, you know, and just let it be taken when it needs to be taken. Easier said than done. Don't give up. This is my third favorite line in this. Don't give up on yourself. It's so easy when you have a week of screwing up, or a week of getting angry, or a week of gossiping, or or day or whatever, to really get down and say, you know what, I'm not getting anywhere. It's normal to feel that way. You're not getting anywhere. But you don't give up. You keep going. Get up, right? Get up more times than you fall down. It's that simple. Well, I screwed up again. Let's try tomorrow. And then narrow that down. Let's just try for this hour. Then narrow that down. Let's just try for this minute. Narrow it down. All right, am I doing anything unwholesome in this moment? No. Then celebrate and go from there. Okay, good. I'm awake in this moment, right? And you can always come back. You can always start over. So it's a still your mind. Obviously, with meditation, we learn to quiet the mind. We learn to let go of thoughts. Doesn't mean there's no thinking. It just means that we're not as attached. Same thing with the possessions. And wrong perceptions. I mean, this is what's going on in the world, is wrong perceptions, right? These people are scary. These people are bad. These people are violent. They need to be, you know, whatever, gotten rid of. These are all wrong perceptions that cause a lot of suffering. Um, Concentrate and do not run after the objects of your senses. Again, this is all talking about meditation, what we do in meditation. Practice diligently. He's repeating it again. And then finally, be determined not to let your days and months pass by wastefully. Don't waste your life. It's running out. You know, you don't want to be on that deathbed that he was talking about and be like, crap, what the heck did I do? Why was I so afraid to love or to live or to do what I wanted to do or to help this person or to tell, don't waste your time, because impermanence does not hesitate. You should write that down somewhere and look at it every day. Impermanence does not hesitate. Not as a way to scare you, but to just to be in touch with reality, but also to be in touch with your practice. That, okay, life can change and I need to learn to open to things as they are, whether I like them or not, because that's what presents itself. And how can I engage fully in life, whether I like it or not? And how can I use the ingredients that are being presented as a way to grow in wisdom and compassion, basically. So that's all I got on this. So why don't we do, we'll do maybe 15 minutes, because I see a lot of writing going on and I think it's going to be a juicy conversation. So we're going to do the meditation. We're just going to sit quietly. The bell will go off in the beginning and at the end. If you're not sure what you're doing, as soon as the bell stops, then you can just start to relax your body. You can pay attention to the breathing. You can feel yourself going in and out as you breathe, and then just count each exhale from 1 to 10. So you breathe in and then you breathe out, and silently you'd say 1. And then you breathe in, out 2, and your mind goes away. You just say thinking, and you come back 1, 2, thinking 1. You might not get past 1 or 2. It's fine. But just keep starting over, right? Don't give up. Practice diligently. So let's try 15 minutes, and then we'll shut off the live and the recording, and we'll open it up to chat. So hands on your knees or resting in your lap, sit up tall, close the eyes, and listen to the sound of the bell. So in a moment, the bell will ring again. So you can just keep your eyes closed and simply hear the sound of the bell until it stops. And all together, we can take a nice deep breath in the nose, out the mouth. You can slowly start to move again. Wiggle the fingers and toes. And when you feel ready, you can slowly, gently open the eyes. And I'm going to end the recording and the live, and then we can start our sharing. So if you're out there watching on Facebook or YouTube, try to join us on Zoom every Sunday morning at 9. You can always email me at authormarkvanburen@gmail.com, or just on Instagram, author Mark Van Buren, and I can send you the link for that. So for everyone out there in the virtual world on Facebook and YouTube, we'll see you later. Everyone else, I'll see you in a second. Don't want, I almost ended the meeting.